Is this Alicia?
Yeah.
Hey, the show's over and they're tearing down, but if we can get to it real quick, we'll take it.
Okay, I had a question. I just also wanted to say that you two are my favorite hosts
of
the show. I've been watching for, I guess, a year and a half, or since I've been, I guess, an outed atheist. And I say outed atheist because I've had these questions for some time after I left the church. I left the church in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But I never, verbalized it as atheist. I live in the South, and so, atheist is tantamount to pagan baby eater.
Hey,
here.
Quick question, and this may appear rude, but I promise you there's no intent like that. Are you also African American?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't mean anything. It's just I'm hearing a dialect that I can't tell if it's South or if it's cultural or regional. So I was curious. Anyway, what were you asking?
And so I have had, my ups and downs. My husband, who is actually an Irishman, he kind of was looking at me askance. He's more of a deist, more agnostic deist, I guess. And so he's looking at me as turning to a militant atheist. But the thing that I had the question about was, I've noticed a lot of, in my search, in my reading from Neil deGrasse Tyson, Dawkins, Sagan, all the greats in this particular ideology, that there are people on the alternate end, like Amazing Atheist, right, who I don't disagree with some of the things he says, but I will say that there's enough negative stuff that confuse. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
We're here. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah, we're here. I just turned my mic off so I could take it out of my shirt.
Okay. But there's enough things that he says that gives me concern because he seems to have such a big fan base.
Yep.
Good example is the elevator gate thing that came out, and I could see points from both sides, but I think when I left theism and I was searching for something, I was hoping to find something I felt would be, when I turned into the secular movement, I was like, I'm going to be among people who are these free thinkers, and it's more of a Voltaire-esque type of thing where, I don't agree with what you say, but I fight to the death kind of thing, and then you see what I consider to be sort of schisms.
Yeah, so there's a lot of I'm going to try and cut to the chase here because they're trying to kick us out of the studio. There's a lot of little infighting and stuff, and I've been involved in some of it. I'm mostly divorcing myself from any of the drama because I'd rather just focus on making the world a better place and letting people bicker. But there are some of these fights that are important, and there are always going to be people in the movement who are going to ultimately reflect negatively on us, to each other, and to other people outside. The one of the things is this: you value freedom, and we get in lots of conversations about free speech. And it's become such a joke online that somebody has coined the term "freeze peach" for people who are complaining about having their free speech violated when no such thing occurred. Because the fact that people are allowed to, Amazing Atheist has free speech rights. He can do whatever he wants on his YouTube channel, but he doesn't get to do it on mine. My YouTube channel is mine, and so that's where the delineation within the movement's going to come. And it's happening a little bit with conventions, not in who's allowed to participate, but who's going to be speaking and representing, and the movement is going to be, mark my words, divided a bit and fractured a bit as it goes through these growing pains, because early on we were so small that we were just all going to work towards a common goal. And now we're getting big enough to where the differences between us can become amplified. And so you have in the atheist movement former believers of various religions, who have different outlooks on things. You have humanists, which, and all these groups can overlap, but some of them are going to be separate. You have people who are socially awkward and have any number of mental issues such that they aren't going to fall prey to religion or don't fit in with religion, and so the atheist community is where they end up. You are going to have the free thinking aspect to this is going to lend itself to objectivists and libertarians in the extreme that are all about freedom, and it may not be possible for us all to cooperate and be a cohesive community all the time. I hope and I'm optimistic that by and large we will continue to agree on issues of church-state separation, work together on those goals, and then you'll have several different smaller communities. There's several atheist groups in the Austin area. or secular groups, I should say. And I think you're going to see more and more of that. And as sad as it is it going to be like picking a church? Well, in some connotations, yes.
But will it derail? Could it possibly derail the movement in any way when you have groups of splinter?
Here's the thing, though, Alicia. I would just like to say they said that your question was how to best address this, and yes. I think the best way for everybody to address it is to represent yourself. And if there is a schism in this, in atheism, or if there are certain groups that are available to you, you pick the one that represents your values and what you accept and what you want to represent and what you want to help support, and you go ahead and align yourself with that. And you speak for yourself and don't allow people to represent you and what you think. You represent yourself. There's a T-shirt campaign that says, "This is what an atheist looks like," so that every atheist can put it on and look different, right? We don't look the same. We're not the same person. And like for TAE, we're not representing atheists. We're representing ourselves up here. And to a certain extent, we represent ACA, who sponsors the program. But we are not speaking for atheists outside of ACA or anywhere else. We have no authority to represent atheists. They have to represent themselves.
So one of the things is to have the individual groups like the ACA have clearly defined mission statements and policies so that you know what the organization is about. And to note that not everybody involved in the organization necessarily agrees with those things. There are people in the ACA, there are hosts and co-hosts on the show who have disagreements on various things, irrespective of what the ACA's position is. The bigger issue is how do we deal with it? I'm pretty much sick of the Twitter battles and the YouTube battles and the I get to speak at this conference, so I'm going to talk about people at this. I know that we need to publicly call out bad behavior and things like that, but what I've been advocating is to make an attempt to solve these problems in private first, so they aren't made to look bigger than they are. Because I tell you, we were at the American Atheist 50th Anniversary Convention. It was a largely diverse group of people. Wasn't perfectly diverse, but we saw more women represented, more Hispanics represented, more African Americans represented, and by and large, the conference went smooth and people got along, and I'm not aware of any major issues, including the fact that there were people walking around trying to explicitly provoke issues by wearing T-shirts like "Ask Me Out for Coffee" or something like that to try and poke this issue. And despite that, it was a great conference. A lot of what's happening is there are people who do not participate in the atheist movement who sit online anonymously and troll people. And they are causing or contributing to some of the division. And I've pretty much taken to just ignoring them. I know that's not necessarily what everybody can do or wants to do.
Well, there was I don't know if you saw the whole thing about the comments on the Atheist Experience channel on YouTube, but I actually jumped in the defense of the people's right to put the comments in.
Yeah.
And you should see what I got in my inbox. Just nastiness. It's just you blankety blank and all caps and screaming, simply because I said, hey, I don't think this is a free speech issue. It's
not.
Right. They're the free speechy people.
Yeah, those are the free speech people. I actually talked to Jen right as soon as she took over as president to suggest that we turn the comments back on the channel and encourage our viewers to actually participate so that maybe we could raise the signal-to-noise ratio. But I don't think that's going to happen because there are a number of people, and some of this is cultural. In the United States, we have a particular view of free speech, and I think it's the one that is the best. And there are people outside of this in other countries where they don't have the same free speech rights, and they completely misunderstand and think that I'm somehow censoring them by not. And I've tried to come up with analogies. The best one I've come up with so far that I haven't actually put in a video yet is my YouTube channel is like my swimming pool. You can poop in your own pool, but you're not going to poop in my pool. And if you do, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop out the poop. I'm going to delete the actual comments themselves. And I'm going to let you know, don't do that in the pool. And if you continue to, I'm going to remove you from the pool by blocking you. Now, I haven't violated your rights at all because that's my damn pool. You can say all day long, hey, people poop in pools all the time. Where I'm from? This is what we should do. Don't we want to? Can't you just ignore it? Can't you swim on the other side of the pool? Can't you just ignore that piece of poop that's floating past you? Well, I probably could, but it's my fucking pool, and I don't have to ignore it. I can clean it up.
Exactly. And what I find funny is when I make my comments, they get thumb down and spam down.
My own comments on my own channel.
That. Yeah, and I'm like, how hypocritical is that? That you're screaming about free speech, and yet you'll do that, so my comment cannot be seen.
Right,
this is why I say that the problem is almost entirely internet culture. It is script kiddies and 4chan and Reddit and anonymous kids in their parents' basement and people who have the same mentality as they did when they were kids in their parents' basement, doing whatever they can to poop in other people's pools.
Wow.
All right, I gotta let you go. They're gonna kick us out.
I'm so glad I got to talk to you guys. So thank you, and don't stop what you're doing. I love.
I just want to say not to Alicia, she can go, but if the other caller, or if we're still streaming, I would look up the silver fox experiment on the evolution question. I don't know if they can hear that, but if so, check that out.
I think all the lines just went.